Hello, my name is Ian Chambers, and this is my proposal presentation on the separation of church and state. So why is this important? As many of you know, we live in a majority LDS community, with churches on every corner, like there are Starbucks in Seattle. During these strange times, we also live in an environment of political instability, with COVID and the current President of the United States, Donald Trump, being in constant chaos. We are struggling to keep an understanding of what's really going on in our world. This is an important topic. As we know, government creates our laws. A really good way to look at this is that the government and state creates the laws, where religion defines morality, but these are not the same. So why this topic? So if you didn't already know, I am not a member of the LDS Church. With me living in Utah for school for the past few years, I have felt as if almost my voice and opinion don't matter, since I am not with the LDS Church. I am not really worth listening to, apparently to most people here. During my time here at school, I have also applied to jobs to help pay for my schooling. I applied to a local fast food chain here in Provo. I went in as normal as anyone could for an interview and continued to have, from my standpoint, a great interview. Eventually, the manager said, "I'm going to be honest with you. I have someone from my ward that I attend who is on par with you, and I think I owe it to her and to my ward to give her this job." I asked her if she really was willing to waste my time for an interview just to tell me she has someone better considered, partially due to the fact that she was in the same ward as her. She said I have to look out for her and my ward, and I'm always constantly looking to help my own community. Already, I'm being treated unfairly in the state of Utah. I also chose this topic because I feel as if it's not brought up very often, and it's a good topic to refresh up on. It's something you don't hear in conversations every single day to day. The first question that I want to ask is, why should the relationship between the state of Utah and the LDS Church be regulated? With this, I can kind of ask myself, is there a want or desire for this? If the Utah population is heavily Mormon, do I have the right to stop the influence on the politics and government? Secondly, I am asking, why is it important that Utah democracy functions without undue influence by any one group? Just because a church is a majority doesn't always mean it's tied to all decisions. Not every member is the same or wants the same things or is willing to push their religious beliefs in laws or onto other citizens of Utah. Lastly, I am asking, what constitutes the separation of church and state? Church and state separation, after all, is not directly stated in the First Amendment, but is rather referenced to and taken away from it. If it's not directly stated, how far can they connect without being considered that the government is respecting an establishment of religion? Can this border be actually crossed, or is it up to interpretation? But why? Why is it important to find the answers to these questions? These questions are important to find out because it is important to understand if you are being treated fairly under your state government. Are you being ignored or given a fair chance? The answer should always be yes in America or other countries. But is that happening? After all, the U.S. has had many laws and a history that were weakly enforced or ignored, almost always resulting in someone suffering as a result. Working thesis, what I've learned so far. There are 2,126,216 Mormons in Utah. That is a lot of people. Like I said before, there are 2,126,000 members in Utah. But Utah's population is 3,200,600. That makes roughly 2/3 of the Utah's population LDS members. That is more than half of Utah's population. If you think about other religions in other states, this is a vast difference comparing to others. So far, I've learned that there are a large number of laws that have been put into place by LDS influence and members, as well as complete public transportation systems being funded by them. Additionally, I learned some Utah leaders, even vowed to follow divine guidance on issues. This doesn't really seem like something you'd want in your government, but this is just me. So, what do I need to know to understand my question and topic? I will have to know previous rulings and laws connected or related to state and religious institutions. Likewise, I will also have to know how Has the connection of church and states affected government in the past? Has this happened before? Has it ever been challenged before? Have they even raised questions before? For my secondary research, I'll use scholarly peer-reviewed journals for information checking. These are really useful to use, and it opens up an article and journal to be reviewed by other experts in this field to ensure the work is correct and of high quality, is not spreading misinformation around. Another source factor I'll use is articles written by government workers or officials. I can use these to search for keywords such as social groups, equality, and any word involving the plurality treatment of Utah, which has already proven useful so far in my research. For my primary research, I plan on interviewing non-LDS members and LDS members on their opinions of local Utah state laws, and what they believe the church's influence on them has been. This may be difficult due to the fact that not everyone is comfortable stating their political opinions publicly. After all, people said they would rather vote for Hillary Clinton, and it looked like a landslide, but yet Trump won. Additionally, in my primary research, I can observe publications and laws fought for by the LDS Church. What and how has the LDS Church tried to influence politics or lobbyism, or actually contributed to lobbyism in the United States? Were they successful? And were people angry as a result of this? How much money were they actually putting into the lobbying system? With this, I could use raw data of LDS court cases to use as numerical evidence in my argument. Looking at statistics, I can tie together what percentage of people are actually being treated unfairly under the current state government of Utah, or as in the past. And I can look on how their lives have progressed and changed under these laws. So, what does my research bring to the table? That's a great question. My research matters because it will allow and help the Utah population, as well as other states in the U.S., to know if democracy is truly working correctly here in Utah or their home states. After all, we've founded our country on the fact that everyone be treated equal and every man is equal, so why should we allow it to happen? But who cares, right? Well, in the short answer, everyone. Everyone should care. But to be specific, non-LDS Utah citizens, LDS members, officials, lobbyists, and Utah state representatives. After all, it is all of these people's states and their state that they live under the principle of democracy and American freedom, that they would care to know if this is actually being held up to protect them. So, what can my research accomplish? Is there any good in looking ahead? Outcomes that could come from my research would be an increase in government affiliation, checks, and regulations to ensure a proper diverse voice is being heard correctly in politics. Additionally, it can help ensure personal freedom is being protected. In the future, my research can allow people to understand and know when lines are being crossed by a religious establishment that should not be crossed. It will keep people alert and preventive of these situations. After all, the First Amendment says, the government cannot help in the establishment of any religion. But with my research, I can also educate people on how much the religion should connect to the government, and although it may be for your political beliefs and religious beliefs, it is important to know that laws never should be made respecting an establishment of religion. My plan. To stay on task and complete assignments on time, I created the following schedule. I will start my secondary research by October 20th and have collected and finished gathering and applying all my sources by November 10th. While I work on my secondary research, I will also be working on my annotated bibliography. After all, I need to put my sources properly and use them properly with the research I have just collected and with the bibliography I am now doing. On October 10th, I will also start organizing my primary research and its methods. I will set up my surveys and interviews. I'll get it all organized and set up and ready to put out there, and I can plan on giving it out to the public, citizens in Provo. I plan to have this accomplished by November 1st. After I've completed my primary research projects or surveys and interviews, I will start to work on my research paper outline to figure out what points I want to hit, as well as how my layout should be constructed and I will have this completed by November 7th. After my outline, I will start working on my research thesis and introduction draft to ensure I have a proper hook on the reader and proper scope and idea, thesis, of what my paper will tell them and what it is about. I plan to finish this on November 14th. After my thesis introduction draft, I will start my final argumentative essay draft. I plan on writing and editing this almost every day until its due date. I will use UVU online tutor programs to have access to aids in the Writing Center, and I can use this to better format my paper and make sure I am learning and demonstrating what I need to. I will also have completed this draft by November 21st. And finally, I will start my final research paper after this argumentative draft. I will begin by using the aids of the Writing Center and tutors again to make sure my edits and refinements have proven beneficial. I will also use this time to make sure my grammar and word choice feels smooth and is a good choice for what I want to portray in this research paper. After all of this, I plan on finishing it and turning it in on December 5th. Here is a slide of a couple of my sources. Thank you for listening.